Despite months of war by the US against the nation of Iran, a war that started on February 27th, but to this day has yet to conclude.
6 months into the war with Iran, there are growing concerns about the health and safety of service members who have been at sea for months.
So it's actually a new record number of days for sailors to be at sea.
A shocking new report that multiple sailors aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln have tried to jump overboard amid poor conditions and mental stress on the ship. This is according to new reporting from the Military Times, which spoke to the wife of one of those sailors, who says she's spoken to her husband only a handful of times since he tried to jump. He is now on a medical hold. The Military Times is also reporting severe food shortages on board and that sailors are running out of just basic needs: toothpaste, deodorant, soap. This crew has been at sea for 9 months amid Trump's war in Iran.
To breaking news now, an extended deployment at sea may be taking a toll on the mental health of military members. New reporting says 5,000 sailors and Marines have been aboard a San Diego-based Navy aircraft carrier for 250 days. They are supporting the war with Iran. Families say their loved ones are beginning to deal with food shortages, plumbing problems, and those mounting mental health concerns. Now lawmakers are pressing the Pentagon for answers as families question when they'll come home.
In that time of war, Iran has inflicted heavy damages to US assets in the Middle East region, targeting defense surveillance radars, US weapon depots, missile launchers, US bases, and missile defense systems through use of kamikaze drones and a plethora of never-ending missiles.
This morning, the IRGC, or the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, retaliated. They fired a wave of ballistic missiles and drones and struck multiple US military sites in the region. As per reports, Iran hit at least 4 American camps in Kuwait, along with US forces stationed in Jordan. Iran claims it has destroyed a Patriot air defense battery and an MQ-9 drone depot in Kuwait. But the main story is from Jordan, where Iran claims to have struck a THAAD battery, along with a Patriot system and a C-RAM radar.
Iran is currently producing more missiles than they are launching, giving them the upper hand in the war.
The US and Israel launched strikes on Iran nearly 6 months ago. Donald Trump has repeatedly declared victory, while also claiming a deal is just around the corner. But a top advisor to the commander of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is now indicating that Tehran is the one calling the shots and could actually prolong the war until the US president is out of office.
Trump is looking for an off-ramp as the US is running out of both standoff munitions and interceptors.
What is happening with these defensive weapons?
Yeah, so let's take a look at what we know about the Patriot system. So the Patriot system is, of course, kind of a workhorse of all the things that we do in terms of defending our assets. So before the war, we had about 2,200 intercept missiles, PAC-3 and PAC-6 missiles that were part of the Patriot system. So basically about half of the inventory has now been depleted. And that, of course, is a really, really big deal. Now, there's another system called the THAAD system. This stands for Terminal High Altitude Area Defense. And this is an even more accurate system. And we had about 452 of those before the war started. 80% of this inventory has now been depleted.
Behind closed doors, sources tell us the president voiced concerns the U.S. missile stockpile has been significantly depleted. According to one estimate, the war has used up 2/3 of America's Patriot missiles and more than half of its long-range missile interceptors.
They're more concerned with who told the truth than what the truth is. And I reported this back in April, that they were getting dangerously close to running out of interceptors defensively and running off of standoff munitions that they use offensively. Without that, they will have planes shot down. And they can't replace them. You can't just buy more. You can't just make the factories go burr, because the supply chain for some of the rare parts and components used in building both are 2 years out. So he has burned through his standoff munitions and his defensive interceptors. And in addition to that, which was not in the report, they've also lost the radar, without which the defensive systems are useless anyway.
Trump is desperate for the war to end and the Strait of Hormuz to open.
Donald Trump is panicking as Iran is putting the screws in and publicly taunting him.
In a situation like this, normally Trump would declare total victory, then leave. But the problem is Iran will not agree. And they have the capacity to hit Israel with missiles and drones. That is why, according to Turkish intelligence, Israelis made Trump change planes while in Turkey, under the presumption that Iran was targeting him for assassination.
We were led to believe he was getting on the plane, he was going to fly. But minutes after stepping on board the plane, a U.S. official tells CNN the president was secretly moved into this catering truck in a clandestine move to protect him. The catering truck then pulled away from Air Force One and delivered the president to a smaller nearby military plane. That undercover flight delivered him to England, where he arrived just before the Air Force One decoy.
Iran has the upper hand in the war, with missiles at the ready and new military commanders appointed to oversee them. Iran too has the upper hand in negotiations, with them setting conditions for the war to end, and not the aggressors.
He came up with 6 conditions calling for the United States to, quote-unquote, correct its behavior.
Iran has laid out its demands for the U.S. in order to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. How did this conflict get to the point where Iran is now demanding concessions from the United States?
Well, this war should not have been started in the first place. That was the ultimate mistake. And it was done in a manner in which was expected to be over with within 4 days. And here we are several months later. And not only do we have a stalemate, we have a stalemate that actually is hurting the U.S. arguably more so than is hurting the Iranians.
They too have the people in their millions right behind them. Another important note is the fact that China has launched advanced satellite rockets into space from the ocean, as well as finalizing an artificial sun for renewable free energy, while the US has an economy battered by reckless tariffs, mismanagement, and pointless wars.
Things that are going well, what are things that are going badly?
Badly is immigration, for sure.
The economy.
Oh yeah, cost of living.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. You know, housing alone is just ridiculous.
I would say gas prices.
Corruption in government seems to be an ongoing.
And for Andrew, that corruption comes from Donald Trump.
So the new CNN polling out this week shows that President Trump has hit some historic lows, underwater on just about everything. His overall approval rating has slipped to 34%, matching his career low, which came just after January 6th.
Plus a debt ceiling reaching dangerously close to 40 trillion. Trump is without a doubt the worst president in American history. The Strait of Hormuz will cease to be closed when Iran decides to open it. The war was lost for the US from the first day they launched an attack. If Trump was smart, he would have tightened sanctions against Iran in the midst of the protester uprising and allowed Iran to crumble from within. But his gamble of killing its leader only unified its people against him and strengthened their resolve.
One of the things that Trump has done is that he has united people in Iran in a way in which I've never seen before, at least since I was a teenager. And we saw this in the funeral, how the animosity toward Trump and towards his regime.
It's because the entire reason for the war against Iran is because Israel wanted to annex territory in Lebanon, and it wanted to wipe out any resistance to its greater ambition of land annexation and ethnic cleansing.